If your technique is causing pain and injury, that is your responsibility. You can't just be causing problems, sending that off to a physio, which then you're still causing the problem by not addressing the technique. I think at a bare minimum is that you got to understand squat, bench, and deadlift, or whatever lift you're training a client to do, the risks that come with that, the common injuries that are with that, understanding them and why that is caused. Welcome back to our podcast. Today, Sarah's got a topic for us. What's the big question for the day?
I thought we could delve into, I guess, like us as coaches, like how much of it is like if someone presents with like pain or if like they have an injury or whatever, like how much of it is like our responsibility to, I guess, kind of like help them not be in pain. Like obviously we aren't physios, so we can't diagnose them. But I think like there's been a few cases where I've had people like approach me and they're like, "Oh, I've had shoulder pain for 2 years." I'm like, "Cool." Like,
Yeah.
I think that
I think this is quite a tough topic. Mainly the toughness about the topic is that coaches are the definition of what creates a coach is rather broad. So we're not, it's not like it can be defined by any parameters of certain level of higher education, right? You know, traditionally a strength and conditioning coach has a master's degree. And so with that, there's definitely a large set of expectations of a knowledge base that's gonna come with that and sets of responsibilities. But coaching being such an unregulated industry, this sets quite a few challenges. The thing a coach is responsible for is the health and well-being of the individual you're taking care of, doing what is in their best interest. And a lot of that for some coaches is not having or letting go of their ego, right? Knowing your own limitations and knowledge, knowing your limitations on how much you can help people. And so I think the way I look at it is I work so my job is to get people to basically get as strong as possible, as safely as possible. During that process, there are adherent risks. And the risks that you get from getting stronger are quite common, right? That you can probably get a set of injuries that you're always generally going to occur, which then as a coach you can learn to understand, okay, what are the mechanisms behind these injuries and how do I reduce them, or even what causes them. So a big foundation to injury, well, here's another part. When we look at strength and conditioning, that causes pain and injuries from a large biomechanical point of view. You know, we can look at this as like a low tolerance. You know, you bench squat all the time, right? That's a significant amount of load going through your joints. If there's this tiniest inefficiency and you're getting really strong, right? That inefficiency is going to show as initially inflammation, then some wear and tear, then an injury if you don't take care of it. Now, generally a physio's approach is to attack it from, I would say, like attack it from the ground up. And my general job is to tackle it from the top, kind of from the top down. You know, addressing the technique and meeting towards the ground. So an analogy I kind of was told to me was exercises or movements that are stronger than gravity or weaker than gravity, right? So, you know, if you got to do your core, glute, shoulder stability exercises, yes, that's going to play a role in terms of addressing the side of the injury, the instabilities of the injury, but that's not going to do anything. Like, yes, that can relieve some pain and make it more stable, but if you're a decently strong powerlifter, that's not going to go away. And you've probably experienced this yourself, where you'll do a set of exercises from a physio, it might provide some relief, but then it's just back again once you're back into prep, lifting heavy again, or you'll see that with other clients, yourself. And that's because the technical side of things then needs to be addressed. I always say it's like if you're squatting 200-300 kilos constantly, right? That's just not going, and there's a huge inefficiency in that. That's just not going to address the injury if you're just doing clams and core work, and which is stuff that we do, but it needs to be put into context of the bigger picture. So coming back to the question of what where we are responsible, I think you as a coach need to teach high quality technique. If your technique is causing pain and injury, that is your responsibility. You can't just be causing problems, sending that off to a physio, which then you're still causing the problem by not addressing the technique. So I think at a bare minimum is that you got to understand what squat, bench and deadlift, or whatever lift you're training a client to do, the risks that come with that, the common injuries that are with that, understanding them and why that is caused. And that's just simply understanding how joints are loaded, how force is produced, understanding the impacts of gravity on your body and weight. Just these kind of small technical things that are going to allow you to see where pain could be caused from lifting. So I think that's your responsibility and really should be the extent. Now you can, another good way to kind of help a client is think of setting parameters of what we call like red tape. So red tape would be scaling the pain out of 1 to 10, right? If that person exceeds a 3, all right, for a period longer than, say, 2 weeks, then refer that person off. Maybe a more defined red tape would be that, if they have like a 3 and there's no improvement, let's say either one of two things occur. Pain increases or performance decreases. That can be a red tape. Because anything outside that is inherently going to produce a risk, and you should probably send that off. The reason why I would have such parameters like this is that we also can't be reactive to every injury and pain that we receive. The thing is, we're always going to experience pain in some sense. It is a utopian thinking it's utopian thinking to think that pain can never exist from health, fitness, sports, exercise. It's just not. From lifting, it's not possible. It doesn't happen. I thought I could try to achieve something like that, and I realized that you just can't. It's not possible. And but you can eliminate a large majority of long-term or chronic pain and injuries. You're always going to get small pain. You're always going to get acute pain. That's going to happen. After every session, there's going to be a bit of, if you've been doing it long enough, there's always going to be a bit of knee pain, elbow pain. The key difference is this red tape. How long does it last? Does it get worse? Does it decrease your performance? Most injuries and pain go away within 3 to 7 days. 80% is probably gone. So if it's still there in the second week, yeah, you generally got a problem. So I think, in my personal opinion, first off, a coach should know their limitations in terms of what they do understand, what kind of clientele they are successful with, and what kinds of clientele they aren't successful with. If you're not successful with very strong clients and they keep getting hurt, you should probably either learn more, collaborate with another coach that could help you, get mentoring from someone. I mean, there's plenty of skilled coaches out there now that, new coaches can be mentored side by side to at least help give that direction. But know your limitations and refer off. Collaborate with other coaches, physios, or other specialists. Don't, look at it as something as that you're not good enough. We're all always still learning. I refer off I also refer off a lot more to contain my role in that person's journey. I don't want to be a physiotherapist for someone, and I don't want someone to be in the mindset when working with me that I'm the healer, because then that comes with a particular mindset of a client that I don't really want, and that isn't very successful. If a client is always looking for a solution to pain, always looking for pain, always trying to fix pain, that becomes my role, and that's really not my role. So I think that kind of answers the question. Know your limitations, get help, set up some basic red tape, again, which you can learn from different mentors. They all have might have different standards, and understand the limitations of the clients that you are successful with, and understand how certain lifts and training that you're doing, what kind of the common injuries that do occur from that, and learn to and start to understand them, read about them, learn about them, understand limitations and what technical deficiencies cause pain. Yeah, I think that summarized quite well. I mean, what do you have to add?
I think you pretty well nailed it. Learn from people around you who have that probably deeper experience, I guess, with it, or deeper knowledge with it. And then two, I think don't be scared to refer out. They're not going to run away in the wind with the physio because you've referred them to a physio.
Yeah.
I think they're still going to be a client when they come back to you, but it kind of takes
I think it's keeping your role very clear. I'm your strength coach. I'm not your physio, right?
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a downsell. If anything, if you don't know what you're doing with injuries, you're going to make yourself look more stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the whole most of the industry is. I mean, you have if you look at those who are actually licensed in different areas, you have the physio, exercise physiologist, dietitian, and you look at the medical industry, they're all broken up into different specialists. They all, have their area, because each topic is quite a deep topic. You can't know it all. And the thing is, they're not particularly or entirely conducive to each other. They all come with different sets of values and client mindset that don't meld very well. Someone who lives under the philosophy of a physio isn't compatible, the mindset isn't compatible with a strength and conditioning coach. We take risks. Medicine reduce risks. We manage those risks as best we can, but we take them, right? With that. And what are some of the risks? Well, some of the risks is injury. We know we're going to get hurt one day. I sports that I'm, doing, activities that I do, like riding my motorbike, off track and stuff, or fighting. Yeah, I know I'm going to get injured one day, right? But I manage that risk as best I can with good equipment, good training, developing skill, working within your skill confidence level, things like that. Getting good guidance from someone, it's the same, exactly the same. Managing all risk. We all love doing things that are a bit dangerous, but that's living. That's living, right? That's how you have fun.
Yeah. I think that answers it pretty well.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a nice quick one. I think that, like anything, there's no simple answer, but hopefully it gives people a guide. All right. Bye, everyone.
Hey.
If you want to get coaching from us, message us.